Evening campers, it's me, Kieran, in a fairly empty room, and we are going to discuss Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman. Now, I started reviewing books about a month ago, and I've been a passive member of booktube for a very long time, and wanted to become more active in the space. And I finished The Mirror and the Light, and thought I'm going to get my camera like I used to when I did my vlogs or my silly little skits from years ago, as a means to kickstart me into becoming a more engaged person in the YouTube space and sphere. And it's interesting because when I was more passive, I would watch the same people over and over and over again. But now, jumping into making videos, I'm watching people and watching videos that I never would have wanted to watch before. If I'm watching someone's videos, and I'm going to keep it on like a booktube space, and they review a book that they're not very passionate about, or they don't really have much to say about it, I'm not inclined as a reader to want to investigate that book. And there always will be books that will pique my interest or are something that I want to read. But as soon as there's a clear passion and a love for a book, and even if the passion's negative, I have to add, I will tend to go out and get it, which is basically what happened here with Call Me By Your Name. Call Me By Your Name didn't so much have a reason why I didn't want to pick it up, but it didn't seem like a subject matter that I was that interested in. But I didn't really know what the subject matter was. I never really looked into it that much. I just knew it as like the film phenomenon. And everyone was talking about it. It was in every single bookstore window for a good few weeks. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. And if we backtrack, it wasn't something I was ever going to read. Trundle through the ether enough, you will see a trend. The trend is that people absolutely adore this book. And it started with supposedly Fun, who I've watched for, I would say, a year solidly now. And he did a tag video, which were the 10 best books of the decade. And he rated this, that it was pretty much the best for the entire decade from when he read it to other books that he loved. And he spoke so strongly about this book that I thought, maybe this is for me? I wouldn't say, no. It's not that people say, this is a good book, this is a bad book. It's the actual, like, emotions that emanate from them. And I think when I read, I seek that catharsis. If someone is having a indulgence of emotions over a book, I want to experience what they experience. It's not to say I will, it's not to say that I won't, but that will speak to me more than the story or the plot itself. And then I came across a fantastic small YouTuber who definitely needs more views, who definitely needs more people to visit her, and I keep talking about her, and she still needs more, which is Fina Reti. And every single video, she shoehorns the book in. She shoehorns the book. And you know what? I bloody love it. And she apologised every time. And she's just brilliant. She's brilliant. But I got speaking to her, and we were speaking through Instagram. And I just messaged like, I'm just going to take a punt on this. She just wills for people to read the book. And that's all she keeps saying is, read the book. And I was like, it's so simple now. Fina, I know you're going to be watching this. So we're going to start off with the bad bits and what I didn't like about the book, and then we'll kind of get into the rest of the review. So please just skip forward, and I'll try to do this as quickly as I possibly can. The boundary between lust and love very much bubble throughout this book. Now, at the point of bubbling, there's a risk that it will overflow. At some times, it's very much repetitive it feels very redundant at times. The third part of this book, the San Clementine Syndrome, wasn't really that great. I didn't really gain anything from that. It could just be because Andre Asselman is a Marcel Proust scholar, but there are some topics in this book that kind of went over my head, especially etymology of the term apricot. I don't know if I was meant to get any of that. There's a lot of French, there's a lot of Greek, there's a lot of Italian. I understand it's based in Italy and I understand this is the language they speak, but at times I felt that I was being bludgeoned by it. That was the bad bits. Now, please be aware, everyone, that in the comment, Fina's probably going to tell me why I'm wrong. I'm definitely going to get added. But Fina, I can't lie to the people. I can't lie to my feelings, and I can't lie to myself. There are times where this book was a little bit of a slog. But let's talk about the main. Let's go into a review. Simply, we are viewing the entire story through Elio's eyes. And Elio is a 17-year-old intellect, someone who is well read, is very versed in music. And at his abode in Italy, well, his father's abode in Italy, a guest comes along called Oliver. Elio, who it seems has not explored his sexuality, begins to fascinate, worship, and long for Oliver. And while Oliver is circumnavigating the subtle cues, the did he, won't he, the things we all do when we fall in love with someone, is that he ruminates to the point of overthinking. Overthinking on an experience one has not experienced, with not being able to articulate yourself. Elio very much falls back onto the Greek scholars. There's a lot of talk about Ovid and what would Ovid do. Elio is shrouded by the classics that he's read, but classics and the modern world at times don't go hand in hand. Elio is clearly looking for a straightforward answer in an experience that is never straightforward. I would like to say, for those of us who have or have not dabbled in lust or experienced love, that we know that it can only be conferred by the other person. And once reciprocated, the tumultuous and rocky landscape that is our relationship seems to plateau. But like the landscape of Italy, it is built on ancient ground, and ancient ground likes to subside. Like anyone who's trying to figure out an answer, there's always room for experimentation. And some of you who've read this will definitely know of a certain scene that happens in this book. But I feel as though by talking about that scene, it will cloud over the majesty that this book has, and I don't really want to bring it down that road because it's visceral, it's graphic, but at the same time it's sublime. And we've all done things in relationships that don't really make sense, and Oliver seems completely okay with it. It's Elio that seems more repulsed. Oliver gives him reassurance that what he's doing is okay in his eyes that are only for Elio, and eyes which they gaze upon each night. The last section of the novel, about the last 50 pages, is very much where the book achieves what it wants to achieve, I think. I need to preface this, that before the last 50 pages, I wasn't truly invested in the characters. I felt very much a fly on the wall. I very much felt like I was protruding rather than being enveloped in a story. Oh, but the last pages, oh, they definitely changed that. Oliver has gone home, but Elio is staying where he is. Although stagnant, his mind still runs hurdles about Oliver and their relationship and the past 6 weeks. The next time they speak, oh, it's so sad. Oliver confides to Elio that he is getting married to someone who he was having an on-off relationship with. It's not so much that Elio breaks down and you see the destruction of a teenager dealing with heartbreak. It's more that the curtains lift, to which everything seems like an illusion. Everything that he's experienced was a lie because the reciprocator was not given as much as he was given. Heartbreak's like a really difficult thing to convey, I feel. I like the approach that Asiman is doing here. You know that Elio's broken, but there's the cogs are still trying to figure out up until the last few pages. Like most relationships, you never really stop thinking of the other person, despite how bad a breakup must have been, despite the trauma of heartache. There's always a part of you that is with that person. Oliver and Elio, when they meet up years on, still talk about those short weeks in Italy in the same place. It is as vivid and as picturesque as Elio was experiencing it at point zero. It's difficult to be a bystander in a relationship because your feelings might not align with the people who were involved in the relationship. And when I first finished the last paragraph of this book, I didn't really understand it. I feel as though I was missing a piece. But I'm not the person who's meant to understand what that piece is from thinking about this book for the past 2 days. I don't think I'm meant to understand what the piece is. Elio and Oliver share the piece together. Though I yearn for the piece to be put down, I understand that that piece sometimes gets filled up with other things, other people, life, a career, memories. It's the same, but it's not as it should be. And you can want everything for one person to be happy, but sometimes they're not the person who can fit that together. Although you'd want to help them to figure out where the perfect piece is and or solution to put a square peg through a circle hole. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. Sometimes the gap is what you need. Sometimes you're not meant to fill that gap straight away. And it's hard. I know it's hard when you have the piece in your hand, but you need one specific person to help you lay it down. But someone might come along and help you fill it in. And it might not be the right shape. And it might not be the right colour. And it might not be what you envisioned. But you could be happy. But I really want to personally thank Supposedly Fun and Fina for recommending a really good book. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10, and I strongly urge you, if you've got it, please pick it up. Or if you haven't got it or haven't been interested, look, take a leaf out of my book. Go and buy it and read it. You don't have to like it, that's fine. But please, I would love for you to @ me on Instagram once you get this and see the journey. Yeah, it's been a good journey. And I feel as though I know Supposedly Fun and Fina a bit better. So I would like you to take on the challenge. If you like someone and they say this is a favourite book of theirs, go and read it. I think it's been a really good eye-opener for me. Let's leave it there. Bye.